It is April the 15th, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray wreck site in the St. Simons Sound. And today when we got out to the wreck site, we saw a lot of movement going on with the tugboats. And we don't really highlight these guys enough. They're kind of the unsung heroes out at the site, moving the supply barges, the equipment barges, the crane barges, bringing fuel out to the VB day in and day out, and kind of the workhorses of the site. And we thought we'd take the opportunity here to give them a little airtime and show them in some of their activities as they work around the site. And we thought you guys might enjoy a little bit of the tugboat action. And then also today, kind of tucked up underneath the VB 10,000 structure was the Crosby Star. Here in this picture, you can't really see it, but once we blow it up, you can see her kind of tucked back underneath the superstructure. Usually we see her there when they're doing a fuel delivery for the VB, and that's what we think was going on there.
Hey, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the new R5 chain that they're using out at the site to cut the Golden Ray with. This was a development they brought in to cut that Section 7 with, as they'd had some failures with the chain that they were using, and when they repositioned back to the bow to make that third cut of Section 2, they started the process of replacing the chain that was underneath Section 7, mainly because it had separated to the point where they couldn't really get back to it to reconnect it, and they were having so much difficulty getting through that structure of that Section 7. They went to a higher grade chain. It's called R5. So we did a little research and thought we'd try to figure out exactly what R5 chain is. And the first thing we find out, it is a stronger chain, but the trade-off in the tensile strength of the chain being stronger is it is more brittle. That seems like it wouldn't be, but it is, as the chain is hardened and it gets more strength in it for the actual chaining mechanism. The strength of the links becomes brittle, and to understand that, for you guys that might be mechanically inclined to understand the difference between maybe a grade 3 bolt and a grade 8 bolt, yes, the grade 8 bolt is much stronger than the grade 3 bolt, but it is more brittle. When they have a tendency to shear more easier than, say, a softer metal. Now, there is no such thing as cutting chain. Chain is used for mooring and for anchoring, and it's being utilized here at the site to cut the Golden Ray. So there's really no such thing as a cutting element on the chain. It's simply exactly that, chain, and the way it's used on the VB under the tremendous tension that they put on it, and by that slow movement that they make with that chain, it allows it to rip and tear and cut its way through the hull and the structure of the Golden Ray. Now, some things about the chain that are interesting as we did a little research is that there's a regulatory agency that tells how the chain should be used and how you can link it and all those kind of particulars, how the chain's made. Found all this stuff online. It's readily available. One of the things we found that was very interesting about the R5 chain is for it to maintain its strength, it can only have one twist per 1,000 meters. And in the application of cutting at the Golden Ray site, particularly being able to get the chain completely straight and know that it's completely straight would be a difficult task, and to maintain it without it twisting as it's ripping and tearing through the hull, I'm sure is quite a challenge. I can understand that would probably be an impossibility to keep that chain from twisting as it rips and tears its way through the hull. So you can understand there, this last failure that they had with the R5 chain is understandable. When it's utilized like that without being able to maintain its a straight line for such a long distance, it still would have the opportunity and the potential for breakage and failure of one of the links. And one of the things we did find that was interesting about the chain and the regulatory part of it is there's to be no welding on the chain or any of the connector links. That's kind of specified out. I guess if you weld the pieces on there, it has a tendency to cause those pieces to be a little less strength, have a little less strength, and the potential for breaking is still there because you've induced heat and maybe into a cycle that wasn't there when it was manufactured, and the connecting link, if you will, could become brittle itself just from the welding process. We thought that part was pretty interesting. There's no welding, should be no welding on any of the links that make up the chain in order to maintain its specified strength. Now, a lot of folks are still kind of questioning about, why aren't they using a different method or one of the cutting cables or something like that. And we tried to explain this before, we'll try to do it again. Those cables can only tolerate a certain amount of angle coming back, and usually it's about 30 degrees before those cables fail. They're very susceptible to failure at sharp bends. And in some of the other salvage operations where they have used cables, some of the salvage folks that have used it, they had setups that allowed them to space out a long way and work that cable back and forth at a relatively shallow angle coming up to the pulley system that pulled that cable back and forth. With the VB, it would be a almost impossibility to do that without some just really interesting engineering taking place to move systems out of the way and get it done in such a way that you didn't have those kind of angles coming back to the VB to power the cable. It would be a constant separation problem. So that's predominantly why they haven't used the cable there. Hope there's a little bit of information on the R5 chain that's now being used to cut the golden ray that you guys can take and process and possibly understand. More information is available online if you're interested. Thanks.
Well, we know today was kind of a long video. Thanks for you guys for sticking it out with us. We appreciate it. We just ask you, if you haven't done it yet and you're watching the video, click the subscribe button for us. You know, we're not going to charge you a thing for it, but it helps us out. We certainly would appreciate you doing that. Send us some comments, and most of all, you guys stay safe out there.